So here at Dash and Bash, we like to mainstream media likes to have stories slide off, but totally not acknowledge the context of it. Like this story is crazy to me. Like this story is pretty wild. But we're gonna start from the beginning or be optimistic. So I don't know if people know that there's no real high speed rail system in the United States. None of it is none of it. I mean, the fastest you could get is between New York and DC, which is still like slow. It's like 4 hours. But there's high speed rails in Europe. There's high speed rails in China. There's high speed rails in Japan. You can zip around all over Europe on an amazing high speed rail system. You don't have to drive your car or anything like that, and you save the environment sometimes. But here we still have like shitty Amtrak trains. One time I ran an Amtrak train, and they couldn't open the door, so some guy came out with a crowbar to open it. So this is what a rail system is like. So, but I want to share this interesting story in Wisconsin. So back in the day, there was actually a pretty hopeful story. They're gonna like build a high-speed rail system in Madison and Wisconsin. So I'm gonna pull this up for you guys. This very optimistic story. That
they're not building it at Madison Square Garden.
No, are they tearing it down?
I think in the end, it's a win for Wisconsin.
It's a nice choo-choo train. It's a nice dream, but it's
oh my god,
too much.
New at 6.
Did she really say choo-choo train? A grown-ass woman
gets the green light tonight. Why everyone is not on board. State lawmakers voted to use $810 million in federal stimulus money to build the rail line. Good evening, I'm Kathy Michael.
And I'm Terry Sater, but
that's more than half a billion. Excuse me.
To derail the plan.
Almost a full
has the story
billion.
Of the state capitol at 6.
Plans for a high-speed train from Milwaukee to Madison are in motion. The legislature's Joint Finance Committee voted to use more than $800 million in federal stimulus dollars to get that project on track.
It continues to make Chicago and Milwaukee and now Madison, a nice link. I think that's important for Wisconsin. I think it's really important for Milwaukee.
The vote came down along party lines, with Democrats saying the high-speed rail line will help build the economy.
People will grow into it, and the regions around the train track will grow. Johnson Creek, Waukesha.
While committee Republicans say the rail line will have little benefit and will cost too much to operate.
So we're still going to require millions of dollars of subsidies for a train that almost no one will ride.
It's a loser.
How does he know?
Choo-choo train. It's a nice dream, but it's going to cost the taxpayer too much.
That rail line is also running right through the middle.
That looks pretty fancy right now. Dusty ass Amtrak.
Scott Walker urging lawmakers recently to turn down the federal money unless they could find more cash to pay to run the line. Walker was unavailable for comment following the vote, while Democratic candidate Tom Barrett is applauding the vote.
It's going to create thousands of jobs at a time when we desperately need more jobs. And linking the two largest cities in the state, I think, is going to help the economies of both Milwaukee.
It just seems to make sense to me.
Democrats here in Madison say the wheels will begin turning on this project immediately, with shovels in the ground and construction beginning before the end of this year. At the state capitol in Madison, I'm Kent Wainscott, WISN 12 News.
Yeah, it seems to make sense to me that I'm pretty sure that a very large portion of the Wisconsin population lives in either Milwaukee or Madison.
You mean poor people?
No, I mean just like in general. Like if you look at like the percentage of people that live in any state in the country, and you look at their major cities, a large portion of their population live in those cities. So to me, it would only make sense to have a high-speed rail to go from one of your most populous cities to another one of your most populous cities. It just seems like a no-brainer that you can create more economic growth that way. I don't understand why the champions of making money are like, no, we shouldn't run this rail service. That didn't make sense to me.
I just get frustrated that you have people who are always against stuff but never have an alternative. Like, so what do you want? You just want people to walk to Chicago? What the fuck do you want people to do?
The older I get, you could tell by all the white hair growing out of my scalp and my chin that I'm getting old, right? The older I get, the less tolerance I have for people that always want to point out all the obstacles, but they don't offer any fucking solutions for anything.
So I want to share. So that was very optimistic. They're going to spend like almost $1 billion on this railroad project. Going to start digging those shovels, like they like to use that term, using those shovels. So this is what happened now recently with the high-speed rail system
between Milwaukee and Nigeria. The governor of Lagos State, Nigeria, is visiting our state this week to buy train sets that were originally built for the state of Wisconsin. CBS 58's Rose Schmidt is in Milwaukee's Century City Business Park to explain the train set's complicated political history and why city leaders say this deal is bittersweet.
So what do trains do? They provide a connection from one place to another. That's exactly what the train here at Talgo is going to do. Provide a symbolic connection between Milwaukee and the Nigerian government. 11 years after they were made, these trains are set to leave their manufacturer, the Spanish company Talgo, located at 27th and Townsend.
They'll actually be in service, serving people and providing a new transit option.
Just not serving our people.
That other community is one of Africa's largest cities.
We hope that this will be the beginning of a mutually beneficial business relationship.
Lagos State, Nigeria is buying the trains for its Red Line. It'll be the first operational metro system in West Africa. The area currently has heavy traffic congestion with limited rail support.
It's all about providing jobs for our people. And that's what we're doing. It's about ensuring that we can build our economy, that our people can move from one location to another.
For us, it's important that our trains are utilized. You know, it doesn't make any good for the trains that we built in Wisconsin.
He's like, fuck this place.
So why have these trains been in storage for a decade? Politics. In 2009, former Governor Jim Doyle announced the state would buy 2 Talgo trains to use for the high-speed rail to connect Madison and Milwaukee. But when former Governor Scott Walker took office, he blocked the deal, setting off a court battle with the company.
While I'm happy about today, I am a little disappointed in a sense that these trains are not in service in our state. And I think that our previous governor unfortunately made a mistake and turned these trains away.
But city leaders say these trains will forever mark a partnership between continents. The trains are striped in Badger red, Wisconsin red.
One state's loss is another.
I don't think people in Nigeria is gonna give a fuck.
The new line is expected to open later this year with a capacity of 500,000 passengers per day. Reporting in Milwaukee, Rose Schmidt, CBS 58 News.
So that story just caught my attention. Like, what the fuck? You know, like Nigeria is moving ahead with a high-speed rail system while Wisconsin is like, so like, you know, I was like, what is happening in this country, yo? Like that's like the craziest shit. Like we're literally going, Nigeria is going ahead of us, you know.
More than a dash and bash, this seems more like politics as usual, right? Because I'm thinking to myself, well, how did they fuck up this train deal? Because I was not paying attention to the story the way that you were, right?
Yeah.
So when we were watching that first clip, the first thing I was thinking of is, well, what about this project failed that they had to turn these trains over to the Nigerian government, particularly Lagos State, right?
Yeah.
And then you find out that the Democratic hopeful governor
who lost
and he lost. And then of course, the first order of business is, no, we can't have these trains. So it wasn't that they tried and it didn't work. It was that they just blocked it. And one of the things that I kind of despise, and we're seeing it in our federal government, we're seeing it in our state's government.
And that's a story from 10 years ago. That's a story from 10 years ago, which now is accumulated to us not having a high-speed rail in Wisconsin.
But the thing that links the 2 points, the high-speed rail in spirit here, is the fact that if Democrats want to do something, the automatic flinch reaction by the Republican is to block it. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's useful. It doesn't matter if it brings more commerce. The party of commerce says, well, if the Democrats think that something is useful, it must not be. So we got to block it. That's what it sounds like to me.
And I don't want to, and also I want to also say, like, Nigeria has conservatives too. There's people driving their Lamborghinis. There's people, rich ass Nigerians, but you saw there was a complete consensus. It wasn't like, what does the both side Nigerians say? No, we're taking those fucking trains, and there's gonna be 500,000 people a day moving back and forth. There was no like back and forth. Both sides wasn't with that shit. Even though there is conservatives in Nigeria, you can't deny that at all. But it was not both sides with that discussion. It was like, well, we're taking those trains.
Right. To me, again, it just, You know, again, like I said, I don't know. For me, it just kind of seems like it's one of those politics' usual type of deals. There's this hyper partisanship that we're seeing is not to anybody's benefit. You know, there are a lot of people that don't like Democrats. There are Democrats you don't like.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that don't like Republicans. There are Republicans that you don't like.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that there are Republicans that have ideas that you agree with. Yeah. And just like there are Democrats with ideas that you don't agree with, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you can at least look at the situation and say, you know what? This seems useful. How can we make this happen? How can we make this work? And then there are other situations like, well, this doesn't seem useful at all, and we should probably avoid this. But when you're talking about from Madison to Milwaukee in a state that's mostly rural, that probably is not, you know, ranked in the top 10 as far as business in the 50 states, right? Then why would you not want to connect your two most populous cities where the bulk of the commerce in the state, and dare I say, the bulk of the tax base probably lives in?
Yeah.
To me, it makes no fucking sense.
So I want to show you how the infrastructure is doing now with other. This story was crazy to me. So this happened. Nobody was killed, thankfully. This is where we at right now in America. This happened last month. That no one died, so that's why they make the news.
Yeah, guess what you're seeing there. Yeah. A lack of commerce. Just look at that still. Before you even click on it, look at the still. That's not commerce, folks. That's not commerce. Okay, maybe for the tow trucks. Okay, this ain't commerce.
So Icy Roads last December caused road closures and on I-94, which is a major junction. After being
I think the Republicans they blocked the move to de-ice the roads.
So the Wisconsin Department of Transportation said they would keep. So I want to scroll down to a story that caught my attention. This whole thing, which is wild to me. So we want to scroll down about this dad who went to pick up their daughter from from Madison. So this is like this was like a shit show. You can see all of this pile up accident shit show that happened.
Now we do need to make that one distinction because sometimes we get lost in a death count.
Yeah.
While no one was killed, there were still 20 people injured. So,
and people,
we still have to acknowledge those people who were harmed, no matter the severity of the harm done to them.
And people are on their way to work, people on their way to jobs. Who knows how that affected other people being caught in a 10-hour pileup. So 13-hour pileup. So I want to scroll down to the story. So about Christian Colin, she was driving home to Minneapolis Thursday after picking her daughters up in Madison. We noticed that we saw an Amish family standing at the edge of the road, looking perplexed about all the traffic. It was very bad.
What are these machines? and why have they merged with the other weird-looking machines?
So this accident's wild.
Wouldn't happen with my horse and buggy.
Yeah, so it was like 100 vehicles were involved, at least 2 semis on fire, a multi-car accident. 70 vehicles did not receive any damage. This is a fire. This is craziness. So look, I mean, thank God no one died, but people were injured. But this looks crazy. So I want to show you this other important map to show you the crucial map. I want to show you guys about this infrastructure thing. So this will happen pretty much.
Can I make this note? Can I make this note though? I love driving my car. I don't care what public transportation options there are, right? I got to ask this question. If the governor did not block that high-speed rail, how many of those people do you think possibly that were on that road when the roads iced over and, all those tractor trailers lost traction or whatever started that dominoes of damaged vehicles, right? How many of those people do you think could have possibly been on that high-speed rail and not in those cars around those trucks?
And literally, you can see right here between Madison and Milwaukee, they blocked this little strip right here. They blocked a high-speed rail from going between these two cities, pretty much. And by now, we could have had more high-speed rails if they would have got that going.
More connections, right?
Yeah, but nothing happened. So you just have this complete gridlock that happened, and almost like it looks like about 1/8 of the state had gridlock because of crazy pile-up accidents. before Christmas, pretty much.
So it's not just the actual, damage toll and the injury toll. You also have to think about the lost hours at work, the lost time spent stuck. People are trying to keep themselves warm in their cars while they're waiting for all of this to be cleared up, burning their gasoline. There are more sunken costs, not just, the obvious. So,
yeah, I just want to share that just to show you how Wisconsin infrastructure is doing now, doing pretty well without a high-speed rail. So that's a crazy story to me. I wanted to highlight because everyone was talking about the Virginia pileup that happened, but it's pretty significant that this pileups happening all the time in this country, which is like not a good sign of infrastructure. So that's Black Power Magic Hour. I guess that was like politics as usual, dash and bash fusion, because someone paid for those trains and they ran away with that money. So
and you already know. And can we also make note of the fact that the company that made the trains was not an American company? Let's point that out.
Yeah,
because a lot of people like to talk about made in the USA. People got paid.
Yeah,
the services were not rendered. Ultimately, there's no high-speed rail running from Madison to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So let's acknowledge that there was almost $1 billion provided by the federal government that went where?
Yeah. And somehow they paid for it twice, which is like a great hustle.
But they want to know who sent you money via Venmo.
Yeah. So that's Black Power Magic Hour on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and act.tv. We're over 62,000 subscribers. Got a whole bunch of content there. And then Dr. Genius, he's talking shit on Twitter, Twitch, Discord, and that's politics as usual, dash and bash.